Hello and welcome to the channel. So we've got a Paul Reed Smith HDRX20 or Hendrix 20 as some people know them by. This amp is absolutely like brand new. It's one of these and there's nothing wrong with it. I've just snaffled it so we can have a bit of a look at it. Just thought to make a reasonably good video. So this is one of those custom type amps where they've taken some of the circuit mods that were done on one of Jimi Hendrix's amplifiers apparently. You know me, I don't go a big bundle on all of that hype, but I think it's still a nice amp and it'll still be nice to have a look at. So basically it's a 20 watt British voiced amplifier, and the idea of this is it's been designed to get more of the tones from the 1960s. So tubes, we've got 312AX7s apparently and two 5881s. There's a couple of channels. It's supposed to be a versatile low watt amplifier, so we'll best be having a look. We're going to take it out its case as well. And don't get me wrong, I'm not being skeptical when I say all of this hype and everything. An amplifier is an amplifier to me. If it either sounds good or it doesn't. You know, all this thing on looking in someone else's amp and oh, I'll just take that mod and it'll sound like that. Come on, we all know that's not the case. But I'm sure this amp's a really good amp. You know, in fact, it may well prove to be an absolutely brilliant amplifier. And everything on this channel gets a fair review. I try to see the best in everything. As you know, on my channel I'm not big on marketing hype, and you notice on the thumbnails on the videos I don't do clickbait and everything. If you want to watch the videos, you watch them, and if you don't, you won't. So that's just me. So we've got some little toddle switches here. They're really tiny, aren't they? They're cool. We've got bright channel. Be quiet, henchman dregs. So we've got tone stack here, presence, bass, middle, treble, usual deal on there, nothing different. We've got a master volume, a treble volume, that's interesting, and a bass volume. So it'd be interesting to I mean, I'm sure there's some of you watching that's got one of these amps. Let's have a look at the back. And yes, so you can see it's got the bias adjustment thingy-majiggies on there. So you can just put your probes in on your meter, and it actually tells you what the bias is. It's in millivolts. So yeah, 25 to 30 millivolts, which is probably a 1-to-1 conversion. They've got a 1 ohm resistor across the cathodes, so yeah, that'll be 25 to 30 milliamps in current. So it's 20 watt amp, so they're 5881's bias reasonably cool there. 1.4 ohms, 2.8 ohms. Then you've got these usual deal, a bit Black Starish, this 1.8 ohms, 2/16s, or a single 16 ohm. There's the little trim pot adjuster on the bias. By gum, he's tiny. Bet you can't see him on the camera. Yeah, just put a little tiny screwdriver in there. Fuse, and then HT fuse, and then we've just got the main socket there. Right, let's get this back panel off and have a nosy at it. Right, so we're looking inside. The cabinet's made of, not sure what the cabinet's made of really. Nice and light, this amp. That's the first thing I noticed about it. Choke, so we've got a choke on there, just a small choke. Tung sole tubes in there. Yeah, pretty it's just pretty basic really. JJ's in there. Yeah, they're all JJs, the leather they want to be. So we'll get, what I'll do is I'll put it on its end, I'll get the chassis out, then we can have a look inside. So looking inside, the cabinet looks like it's made of ply, or pine, I don't know. It's so lightweight. Yeah, really, really light. I mean, that's just like, one finger. It's so light. So yeah, that's cool. I like that. Right, so we've got it on the bench, and that PC board looks very Blackstar-ish indeed. So no doubt the boards for this have been manufactured in the same factory in China where Blackstar have theirs done. But that's looking pretty cool. So there's no schematic for this. I did check this. This amp is so new, and probably Paul Reed Smith aren't going to release one. I don't know. But anyway, so we've got 100 microfarad caps here. We've got 4 of them. So I'd imagine those are in series. So there's probably some hefty plate volts on this amp. Just having a look round. So notice this ribbon cable here going to this back board and it's actually not, it's really thick wire rather than the thin ribbon cables we see on a lot of these type of amps. That's really solid and well glued in at either end as well. So that's pretty good quality, that. Yeah, I mean it looks, you know, even set out on a PC board, it looks reasonably basic. I mean, compared to opening a Blackstar, no SMD components I can see. So yeah, this looks pretty nice, thick PC board as well. That's not bad at all. Very solidly made. So got another 100 microfarad there, and a couple of 47s. So yeah, there's a good bit of smoothing in this amp as well, so it'll be tight and punchy. It certainly won't be flubby on the bottom end with this lot. Looks pretty good. Screen resistors there. And then we've got grid stoppers, 5.6K, so that's Marshall again on there. 5.6K, typical. So there is some typical Marshall values in this amp. Yes, what I'll do is I'll drop the camera in and we can go in close and you can have a good look. There you go, you can have a good look in there now. And the more I'm looking in this amp, the more I can see the diodes, really beefy diodes. So we've got 330 microfarad on the first stage here. So that's very plexi-like on there. $820 ohms on the first stage. So I think what I'll do, I think I'll pull a Marshall 1959 lead schematic up and we'll just have a look on it. Right, so we've got 330 microfarad on there, and on this schematic 820, oh, that says 250. I think that says 250 on that one. Yeah, but yeah, not the general idea of that. So apparently this has also been modelled on some of the mods that were done on Jimi Hendrix amp, and like I say, I don't go a bundle on reading a lot of stuff like that, but maybe that was just upped on that amp that he used. This apparently is the amp he used at Woodstock. Well, I presume he used it in other places as well, but that's what the marketing says. 820R on there. We'll just look at it as an amplifier and have a look what the circuit's like, or some of it at least. So that's certainly Marshall-esque. These 5.6K do for us here. Grid stoppers on the output tubes. Let's have a look. Just have to put some bigger glasses on, just can't read the schematic. So yep, sorry, that'll just wait and get that in focus. You see there, 5.6K on there. So yeah, this is beginning, even with those small. See what else we can spot that's Marshall-esque at a glance. So what's the second stage on this Marshall then? I can never remember these values. So we've got a 0.68 and an 820 on that one. Just have this, these are all the same. 8. So on the second stage, we're looking for another 820 on here. 820. So I don't think there's a bypass cap on that. Well, there is 680. It's there, I'm guessing. We'll check that on Bully's prize board. Now, some of you, if you're really into these new amps and reading up about them, you probably know more about it than I do. Or you've probably seen a lot of this already. But for those that haven't, and me included, and I think that cathode resistor is shirred. Right, so that cathode resistor is shirred on those both stages, which then that actually relates to this schematic here. So that relates to this schematic here, because if we look, these are the cathodes here on both of these stages of this tube. The two triodes are the first tube, and if we look, that comes straight down the center, 820 and 330. So that fits that. So this 820 and this 330 are shirred on each side of this tube. So that's how that's wired. So this schematic here is circa 1967. So that would again tally up with that. And I'm not going to draw the complete schematic out for this amp, because it's a new amp and it's just a boatload of work to do that as well. And generally, just watching this video, you can get a rough idea how it's wired once we've been through the Marshall schematic. So let's go through and look at the second stages. So that's the cathode follower then for the tone stack. So we've got 820 going on there on the second stage with the cathode resistor. So we've got another 820 here. Let's just see if that equates to, yep, that's right. So that tallies up with the schematic as well, because if we look again at the 820, that's on this second tube here, you can see, and that's the cathode follower set out by the cathode follower. You can see the cathode there going into the tone stack there. So that's the cathode follower for the tone stack. That's looking pretty identical as well. So should be a 100k resistor to ground on the other side of that tube, and there is one at the side of it. So if we go back to where we were, 820 is on that cathode. Let's see if that 100k is on this cathode. And yes, it is. So we know, so that basically this amp is, it's basically a match of this schematic so far, almost. So the phase inverter will be probably the same, and that's got more copies than the Daily Mail. So we know that's probably going to be about the same. Tone stack is the same. So yeah, again, it'd be quite hard to fish the tone stack out of there, but so we know that these first four stages at least are the same as this schematic here for this, which is basically the Plexi schematic. So yeah, it's just a bit of a nosy in there. We know the output stage is looking pretty similar as well. Obviously the biasing circuit's going to be slightly different because this amp's a lower watt and it's got 5 AA1s in it, so not EL34s, and it ain't 100 watts either, or 50 watts. They do a 50 watt version of this. Not sure whether they do a 100 watt version of it. Someone will tell me otherwise. I probably should have looked online, but they do a 50, so whether they do 100 I don't know. But yeah, it's I'm liking this. It's looking very good. It's very well made. I mean, it's a PC board amp, it is what it is, but it's a very well made PC board amp. You know, it's not it's quality, as you'd expect from Paul Reed Smith. Very nice indeed. In the chassis as well, if we look at the chassis, it's nice. It's not the crappy aluminium that you can slice your fingers on the edges. It's been very, very well made, this amp. It's very nice. I mean, I dare say they're not cheap, and I've actually not looked to see how much they are retail, but yeah, very nice, very impressive. You know, you look inside this amp and it doesn't come across to you that it's one of those things that you'll throw away in 5 or 6 years, you know, when there's a lot of them, when they start to go wrong and the SMD components fail in them, and they're not repairable, then the board, then the board's not, you can't get the board for it anymore, and it either goes in the dustbin or it ends up coming to the likes of us, and we rip the board out and build something else into it. But this looks like it's here for the long term. It's good quality. It's a very well made amp. Well, I think it is anyway. For a PC board amp, it's great. So those diodes there are probably on the filaments. We've got the AC DC rectification there, full wave bridge, which will be 1N4007s. They look like they're much more beefier things. In fact, they're 5408s. They are. I couldn't see that on. So 1N5408. I wonder if they're on the filaments then. Rather huge for being on there, but so this power supply section as well is probably a bit different to the Marshall. This is just the preamp stage that's the same. So the phase inverter will be the same. So you can basically say the first half of this has just been copied off a Marshall Plexi. Or it's very similar. There may be some discrepancies there, but not many. And the rest of this, well, probably just bits like the grid stoppers. Obviously, I mean, it's standard. Most people will put grid stoppers around that size, and the screen resistors 1K. Well, every man in his pit bull uses that, don't they? So you can't really say that's been copied from a Marshall. It's just what everyone uses. Yeah, good. I'm impressed with that. So I suppose we'd best, but as I say, I'm not going to analyse the circuit right through. That's just going to take me hours. But we're comparing it to that schematic. We know pretty much that this half, the preamp stage half, is more than loosely based on a Marshall Plexi. So yeah, that's good. So put this back together, and we're going to plug it in, and we're going to have a bit of a blast on it. Well, here we are again. So just plug this in, and just a tiny bit noisy, and swap the preamp tube, tested across all of these. It is quieter now, but there, see on that tube. Actually, you probably can't see, can you? Because let's just go up a bit with the camera. There we go. Something not quite right with that tube. I think it's a bit microphonic. Now this amp was posted to Lee, so it's probably been used as a courier's football, as most things are, aren't they? But that to me, we'll see how we go. But Lee did say that it had a bit of feedback problem. I think that's where it's coming from. We're now literally only touching that, and I'm having to do it lightly because I can feel the heat coming through my nail. But yeah, there's a problem there. We'll see how we go anyway. We can address that after. Let's have a listen to it. So you hear it now. It's got like a high-pitched whining. Yeah, it's that tube, definitely. That output tube. Yeah, that's probably got damaged in shipping when it's been thrown into the back of a van or something, more than likely. So yeah, but we'll see how we go with it. It might be all right. I mean, we're not cranking it up mega loud in here, so I have got it through the hot plate, mind you, but obviously I've not started winding that up yet. But yeah, there's definite problems there, but it does just seem to be a tube that. So I've just propped it up a bit so we can see the controls there a bit more. You can see just a bit more of what I'm actually doing there. And if we zoom in on the controls a bit more, yes, it's doing a bit of whining, that is. And getting worse as it gets hotter. Right, let's have a bit of a strange setup here where we've got this treble volume and bass volume. Very bright. Take this volume down. I think the kettle's nearly boiled. Very bright amp. Can get this amp clean. Oh dear, that's it's very it's a very thick tone there, and that's because of that bypass cap. That 330 microfarad is what's doing that. Just drop it down. Yeah, put all the mid in. It's a very tight sound. go for the overdrive again. So you can get it. Yes, I'm sure most people recognise that if you're into Jimi Hendrix. I haven't played that for years. That was straight off the cuff. But I've not played that for 10-15 years. Yes. So let's so it sounds much better when you crank these this treble volume up. Let's put the bass volume up as well. Definitely an amp that's designed to be cranked, and obviously can bring it down on the master, but doesn't sound as brilliant when the gains are like down to number 4. But now that's up there, that's proper smoking. Let's just push it a little further. So we'll push it on the hot plate a bit more now. there we go. bit of a blast there, very rusty on the guitar, but yeah, a few Jimi Hendrix licks there, which I'm very rusty at as well. But yes, there we go. It's that's a very, once cranked up, this is a very nice sounding amp indeed. That sounded splendiferous. Obviously we've used the hot plate to tone it down in here, and it was still knocking the compression down on the microphone, on the camera. Seems to have quietened down a bit more now, but there is a slight problem with that too, but I'm guessing that's been done in shipping. So there we go, that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, you all take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.